Some people might think vulnerability is a weakness. It's about oversharing, giving too much away, and that shows a weakness. I would disagree. From my experience, I've found that when I've been more vulnerable, I've actually been able to live life more, to live a full life. So the best person to refer to when talking about vulnerability is Brene Brown. Brene Brown's an American shame researcher and author, and she's done a lot with this subject. So when I've looked at for some of her quotes and some shorts have popped up on YouTube, this short came out quite a bit, so I just want to read that. And you might have some thunder going on in the background too. It's quite warm. So she says, all I'm saying about vulnerability is that when you are in uncertainty, when you feel at risk, and when you feel exposed, don't tap out. Stay brave, stay uncomfortable, stay in the cringy moment, lean into the hard conversations, and keep leading. Stay brave. And that's basically everything that mindfulness is in a nutshell, isn't it? You know, feeling the uncomfortable. I made a video about this not too long ago about staying in the uncomfortable feelings. So she's saying that about vulnerability. Let's dive into it a little bit more, okay? So vulnerability can be seen as a double-edged sword, okay? So the word she described there, let's delve into that. We've got uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. So, yeah, being in vulnerability, being vulnerable with someone or something you're doing is uncertain. You don't know what the outcome is. And it's risky because of that. And you have to be emotionally exposed. It's hard. That's the side of that's the edge, the side of the sword that is negative, right? It is painful. That's the painful side. But there's two edges to this double-edged sword, okay? So when you go through that in vulnerability, when you're in vulnerability and you go through uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure, when you go through that, on the other side is courage and bravery. And from that, you get confident, right? So it is a double-edged sword. It can feel risky and it can feel weak. But on the other side, it's brave and it's full of courage. Sorry about the noise there. So what's your example of this? Do you have a story or a memory that you can refer back to where you were in that feeling, in that side of the sword? You were in the scary bit, it was uncertain, you were being vulnerable. You might have had a conversation with someone, you might have gone on stage somewhere. And even if you haven't done anything scary, maybe you've played it safe a lot of your life, and that's fine if that's what you want to do with your life. You might have seen other people doing it though. And if you've seen someone on a stage, you might be close to them, you might know them inside out, and you've seen that they've gone through that side, the uncertainty, the risk, all the uncomfortable feelings as they've got up on stage. But you can see when they've got into their flow, and they might be like, oh yeah, I see the other side of it now. She's really brave to go up and do that. I got told I was brave when I was 19 and I went to travel on cruise ships. I just saw the other side of it. I just saw fun. Yeah, this is okay. I didn't really see it as being a brave thing. I was 19 at the time. That's probably why people were saying it. So yeah, you can see it in people that are public speakers, people that are on YouTube. I saw it in a friend once where she was doing her first launch. And so I was in the audience on Zoom watching this live launch, and I could see how nervous she was. And she messed up a little bit and I could feel for her. And then on top of that, something technical happened. I can't remember what it was now, but something technical happened. Do you know what? She dealt with that like a trooper. She came out the other side, and I said to her, I would have fell at that point. I would have just called it a day, but you carried on and did really well. And being vulnerable can make you stronger. It can really give you the courage to live life your way. It doesn't have to be about oversharing. You can be vulnerable, you can let people in, you can connect with people with the things you want them to know about, with the things that are relevant. If we're talking about a work colleague or a boss, unless it's relevant, you don't have to tell them any personal details. But you might be vulnerable and say, this isn't my strength. I'm really struggling with this and it's not my strength. And you might have feelings around that saying, you know, if I show my weakness, they're going to get someone to replace me who's better, right? You might have those kind of thoughts. But if you've got a leader, a boss who can take that emotion and take that and see that courage in you and say, yeah, well, I'm here to help bring that out of you. I'm here to help get that better for you. Then that's better, isn't it? You know, you've done something vulnerable and you know, you don't know which way the outcome's going to go, but you've done it because that's you. You're being authentic. And then hopefully it's seen and held in the way that it's intended and the outcome is what you want. But if you've done it and it doesn't go to plan, then at least you've done it and you've been yourself, you've been authentic. I can see in today's world that people might not want to be vulnerable. You know, I can see how people would want to run the other way. Talk at social media, YouTube, you know, me and hubby have both got YouTube channels. And I recently put a trending hashtag on one of my videos recently to bump up the views. I knew what it would do. I knew it would get it out there. I've been in this game a little bit now, and I intentionally did it. And it did get the views, but along with the negative comments too. And I even said to hubby, here we go. You know, it was anticipated. But I want to be vulnerable. I want to do this. This is my thing. You don't have to come on YouTube and talk about your life like I do. You might just want to do a hobby or something. There's a quote I come back to a lot when I'm talking about stuff like this. And something when I feel the vulnerability around doing what I do, I say this to myself: my need to be heard is greater than the fear of being judged. My need to be heard is greater than the fear of being judged. And I remember that. And, you know, if doing a passion means that you might get judged by somebody, so what? It's your passion. Keep doing it. Keep feeling the fear. Keep going through those uncomfortable feelings like Brene mentioned. Because that's how you can really, truly live your life. You know, the other big thing that I can show you how this has shaped up for me, you know, how being vulnerable has shaped my life and helped me to really, truly live it, is this. We are in Vietnam. We left the UK back in January and we are now here travelling full time as a family. You know, how scary is that? How uncertain is that? How risky, how emotionally exposed are you when you go and tell your friends and family that you're doing it? Not only that, you then tell people online that you're doing it. Imagine the outcome of all that. But there's another side. You know, when you get here, you're in all this. Like, I'm sweating cobs here, which is, you know, I'm loving the sun. But it does get too hot too, you know. Having a day to myself today, kids are with the dad, so I can do these. And they're off at the pool. They've done their work for the day and they're off to the pool. You know, we're living life our way, the way we want to live it. But it's been a very, very uncertain and scary journey getting here. We've been very, very vulnerable to do this. And I think living life outweighs any of that. It really does. So, what do you think about being vulnerable? Have you been vulnerable before? Has it backfired? Have you been vulnerable and has it given you courage and given you confidence in life to fully live it? I'd really like to know your thoughts on this, but to me, being vulnerable has really helped me to live my life fully. And just before I finish, I want to also say, you know, I mentioned in my other videos, I'm looking to do some lives. And within lives, you are a bit vulnerable. You know, you might just be typing, but you're still getting out what's in your heart. You know, some things that you might want to share. You're a bit, you know, do I share this? Do I not share that? You know, use your discernment. But by sharing, you can have more connection with people and build a community. And that's what I'm after with these lives. I'm doing one for if you want to join us and do traveling and be a part of this. Maybe you're thinking about it. Maybe you're already doing it. I want to make that group about bridging the gap and having a community in between the transitions when you're moving around. And then the other group is about being vulnerable in life, right? Showing up and living life and with the challenges and the highs. So that's where I'm going. When I'm going to start them, I'm not too sure as yet. I want to be in a, you know, a really strong place to be able to hold space for this community. So I need to get it all in my head a little bit better. But in the next few weeks, I'm planning to get these lives up and running. So I would invite you to use your discernment, but also bring your vulnerability and see where you can go with it. Okay, let me know all that in the comments, what you think. And thanks for watching. Much love. Bye for now.